Good evening and welcome to this regular meeting of the Council of the Municipality of North Perth. Our meeting date is Monday, June 22nd, 2026. I'm Deputy Mayor Doug Kellum, and in the chair tonight in the absence of Mayor Kasenberg, who is participating in the Westfield School graduation. The Mayor may return yet to the meeting should timing allow him. I call this meeting to order. I ask the clerk to note our starting time for the minutes as 7 p.m. A warm welcome and greetings is extended to councillors, staff, delegations, and observers who will participate in this meeting, regardless of whether being physically in attendance in the council chamber in Listowel or being connected through web technologies. We begin tonight's meeting with the playing of O Canada. Those in the chambers as available are invited to stand. We acknowledge that we're on the traditional land of the Anishinaabe peoples. We wish to recognize the long history of Indigenous people in Canada and show our respect to them today. We recognize their stewardship of the land. May we all live with respect on this land and live in peace and friendship. Tonight's meeting is being streamed live on the Municipality of North Perth YouTube channel and will be available there after this meeting as an archive video. To those viewing this meeting via the YouTube channel, a warm welcome to you. To those present in the gallery today, by attending a public meeting of the Council, you are consenting to your image, voice, and comments being recorded. Anyone who's invited to speak will be recorded, and their voice, image, and comments will form part of the live stream. The chair and/or the clerk have the discretion and authority at any time to direct the termination or interruption of live streaming. Such direction will only be given in exceptional circumstances when deemed relevant. Circumstances may include instances where the content of the debate is considered misleading, defamatory, or potentially inappropriate to be published. Attendees are advised that they may be subject to legal action if their action results in an inappropriate or an unacceptable behavior and/or comments. Thank you. At this time, I invite your decorum over the course of the coming meeting. As said before, I have regrets tonight from Mayor Kasenberg. Let's move to item 5 in our agenda pertaining to pecuniary interest. Members of council have full lives with engagement in the community. Sometimes they may find themselves with a potential financial or pecuniary interest in an item at the council table. Provincial legislation mandates councillors to declare this interest, and in so doing, avoid direct involvement in the consideration or voting on them. I invite all councillors with a perceived pecuniary interest, including those who have already so declared in writing, to verbally advise the chair in public session. Documentation is to be submitted, if not already done, pursuant to council procedures. Councillors may declare now or at any point in the meeting should such interest be recognized. Councillors. Councillor Richardson.
Thank you, and through you, Deputy Mayor Kellum, I'd like to declare a pecuniary interest on item 8.3, the bylaw 14.2, and also the confirmatory bylaw 17.1, as I have family that are involved with those three separate items that are being discussed. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Councillor Andreessen.
Good evening, Deputy Mayor Kellum, councillors and staff and everyone in the gallery today. I need to declare on item 7.31, the Hayloft Musical Festival. My company is participating as a vendor in that program, and I feel I should declare pecuniary interest. And as a result, I won't participate in the confirmatory bylaw, which is 17.1. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Andreessen. Anyone else? Seeing none. As chair of this meeting, I will manage the flow of proceedings tonight, and largely in accord with our agenda and rules of procedure. Some may be participating remote by web conference. Should they wish to speak, they may draw the attention to the clerk to this using the conference technology text chat function. If technical difficulties arise for remote participants, I will advise. Let's now focus on the people's business. Part of that focus is achieved when those in the chamber silence and put away their phones. Regarding item 6 of our agenda, are there any additions for today's agenda? Seeing none, I have a resolution for our consideration to approve the agenda as follows. That the agenda for tonight's meeting be approved as amended to renumber agenda item 9.2.1, Hayloft Music Festival 2026 as item 7.31 under the consent agenda. Moved by Councillor Johnston, second by Councillor Nordham. Let's have that vote. And that is carried. Thank you. We're now at item 7 on our agenda, the so-called consent agenda. Consent items are placed on our agenda because they are believed to be non-contentious. Yet, they may warrant council's recognition and action. Grouping them expedites our business. However, any councillor wishing to extract an item from the consent agenda for discussion, debate, and individual action may do so. There are a whopping 31 items on our consent agenda tonight, including the minutes of our last regular council meeting. Councillors, anything to extract here or any corrections to the minutes? Seeing none. Direction, what does Councillor Andreessen do now?
Through you, Deputy Mayor Kellum, based on the previously declared pecuniary interest, she could step out for this vote if she chooses.
Okay. Councillor Andreessen? Okay. Please note for the record that she did that. I have a resolution that reads as follows. That consent items 7.1 to 7.31 be received for information in the minutes of the June 8th, 2026 regular council meeting and the June 15th, 2026 special council meeting be adopted. Moved by Councillor Anstead, second by Councillor Blazek. Questions or comments? Let's have that vote. That is carried. Please invite her back in. At this time, it's proposed we move on to agenda item 8. We now will receive 2 delegations from those with interest in our council business or authority. I'll remind the delegations that in accordance with this council's procedural bylaw, a total time of 10 minutes of presentation is permitted, with a question period to follow, the duration of which is at the discretion of the chair. A delegation is to present on the topic declared on the submitted request for delegation forms, and deviations from the topic are not acceptable to the chair or this council. Decorum is required. I remind those delegating should not use the names of those who have not consented to such use. Our first delegation tonight is from Inspector Tyler Stewart, Perth County Detachment Commander of the OPP. Welcome, Inspector Stewart.
I think I got that right. There we go. Perfect.
You.
Detachment board member Juanita Kerr sends her regrets, so I do apologize. She's not here with us tonight. Before I get started in the actual report, I just want to touch on a couple things that are going on with Perth County OPP. So good evening, Mayor. Kazenberg was supposed to be here, and this was a predetermined speech, but I apologize, Deputy Mayor. Members of council, community partners, and residents. First of all, thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. It's an honor to serve as a detachment commander and lead the dedicated members of the OPP who proudly serve this community. I'd like to begin by thanking our detachment board for their leadership and guidance, governance, and transparency. Their support ensures we remain accountable. I also want to thank the community for continued trust. Policing is strongest when it's done in partnership with those we serve. I want to touch briefly on three key focuses that Perth County OPP is as designated as our priorities. First of all, traffic enforcement. Our officers continue to be proactive, visible, and target impaired driving, distracted driving, and aggressive driving. In March, we conducted a county-focused traffic campaign that resulted in 431 tickets issued, alongside education sessions on traffic safety to reinforce awareness and prevention. Just last week, the OPP had Project Crossroads, and it was a safety campaign regarding intersection-related offenses. I had the results of that today, and I'm proud to announce that Perth County laid 66 charges for offenses such as disobeying stop signs. This enforcement initiative placed Perth County among the top 2 detachments in the West region, which consists of 13 detachments. Our shared goal is simple: safer roads and preventing harm before it happens. Second, I just want to touch on our partnerships with social services and how they're essential. Many calls we respond to involve complex social needs. By working alongside health and community agencies, we connect individuals to the right supports and improve outcomes for those in need. We are also actively supporting the implementation of the Community Wellbeing Plan, which everybody is aware of, I'm sure, here tonight, by ensuring a coordinated and proactive approach to address local priorities related to safety, health, and social development. Finally, we remain committed to investigative excellence. Our officers conduct detailed professional investigations with a focus on accountability and supporting victims with care and respect. In closing, we are committed to serving this community with professionalism, transparency, and pride, and we value the continued cooperation of council, the board, our partners, and our community. So we'll touch briefly on the detachment board report. So for everyone's awareness, we meet once a month, and we have representation from all 3 municipalities here in Perth County. And it gives me an opportunity to respond to any issues that are going on in the community, either brought forward by the board or the actual community itself that has come forward. So I think I can control this. Oh, sorry. Just maybe. Oh, there we go. All right. So our board governance role, reporting the 2025 reporting year contacts, and the report purpose and scope. So this provides us with an opportunity at our meetings to go over the legislative overview and compliance of our activities, priorities, and accountability. Just to show how our board's made up, we have representation from West Perth, North Perth, Perth East, and then also our 3 community partners. Of note, Juanita Kerr is a community partner. We have yet to had 2 provincial appointees assigned to us yet. And with the elections coming up in October, we're hoping that those positions are filled after that. Mayor Kazenberg also serves as our detachment chair. Jerry Smith from Perth East serves as our vice chair. And James Hudson from the municipality of West Perth serves as our administrative clerk. So I've had the opportunity to participate in several workshops within the last month with the board. And from what I've gathered from that is governance and guidance are the main 2 issues. Not only issues, but that's where their priorities are, and that's where they steer me as a detachment commander in the right direction to meet the needs of the community. Policies. This is more for the board, but we do have a land acknowledgement policy, and we also have the governance enhancements, where anyone who has a conflict must declare it. Training, I can say the board has roles and responsibility training, human rights, valuing diversity, and they also have training around the Community Safety and Policing Act. As I indicated before, I provide numerous reports and statistics to the board a week in advance. And that's reviewed, and then we have discussions around crime trends, traffic enforcement, community safety, and also the use of resources and deployment. And a good example I give of this is just our ongoing Youth Police Academy that we have. The board promotes that, and in the end, we implement that to make sure that we're meeting the community needs with our youth. Budget, I don't have a lot of involvement in the budget, but it is at an operating expense of just over $40,000. And that goes towards insurance premiums, training, member reimbursement if there's kilometers involved for mileage. And I will note, I didn't do this presentation, but at the year end, there were $6,000 approximately under budget. So I know that was passed along at the West Perth board meeting. That's just a list of our meetings. One thing we've brought in is from the OPP, we have guest speakers come to every meeting. And it could be from our Highway Safety Division, it could be from our Emergency Response Team, our Community Street Crimes Unit that deals with drug trafficking and property crimes. And this just educates the board on the different resources the OPP has. Although we're Perth County OPP, we do have access to all the other OPP resources that can be brought in states in emergency situations or for investigative purposes. One of the highlights, and North Perth gets the benefit of this also, is our mobile crisis team. So we have a social worker that teams up with officers, and we respond to generally the complex mental health calls. One thing I want to highlight with this program is either one, not tying up hospital resources by even going to the hospital, but while going to the hospital, the social worker is able to use the same language that nurses and doctors understand instead of coming from the police. And it's been an excellent program, and it helps us navigate many of the mental health calls that we have. As I mentioned earlier, public transparency, I would say that's the #1 priority of the board and the goal of it, but we encourage input and participation from the community, any of our partners, any local issues that you feel need addressed. I strongly encourage that those come to our detachment board. And in conclusion, the board remains committed to make sure there's civilian oversight of the OPP policing services through transparency and community engagement. And just on a note from the board, they do thank the support that we get from the North Perth Council and communities. So on that note, that concludes my, my presentation. If there's any questions.
Thank you, Tyler. Colleagues, comments or first questions for Inspector? Go ahead, Councillor Andreessen.
Thank you, through you, Deputy Mayor Kellum. I thank you for your presentation. I really appreciate the work that you do. I just had a question about the mobile crisis response team.
Yes.
How is that deployed? Is that like through a 911 call that team would be dispatched? How is that dispatched, thanks, or deployed?
So yes, that is through 911, but we are proactive on that. We have the MCERT worker scheduled, usually from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. That's where we identify that they're most effective based on the data to help, not only help police, but help the individuals that are in crisis. But generally those calls come through either 911, previous calls that our officers bring forward, and for an example, say we've had an issue with Tyler Stewart. We've had numerous calls with him in Listowel, and our officers will team up with MCERT and try to find resources to help that person. So both respond reactive and proactive.
Thank you. Anyone else? Councillor Rothwell.
Thanks very much, Deputy Mayor, and through you, thanks very much for your presentation, Commander Stewart. Further on the mobile crisis response team, I want to appreciate the work of certainly the detachment, but especially the board in the advocacy of the extending funding of the mobile crisis response team. The province had not come out with that until there was some advocacy, as I understand, so I really want to appreciate if you could put that back to the board, that we appreciate their work, because as Councillor Andreessen mentioned, we know that within our community and others that this is an important context, and certainly a valuable response having a social worker in with police on those types of calls. So thanks very much.
No problem. And I would just follow that up with is the program is a grant program that we write to every year, and it's a 2-year cycle. So thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Good, thank you. Anyone else? See none. Thank you for your report.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes.
Have a good night.
Our next delegation tonight is from Curtis Martin, who is asking council to provide a tent permit extension request. And I believe, is it Peter Follis and Jennifer Brown are doing the speaking to this? Okay. Please come forward. State your name.
Deputy Mayor and members of council, my name is Peter Follis. I'm a lawyer. We practice in a firm in 3 towns: the town of Durham, the town of Palmerston, the town of Mount Forest. We've been practicing for many years. I've been asked by Curtis Martin to assist in the problem they presently find themselves in. And it's a serious problem, and I don't know that the seriousness is really known to you. I'd like to start off by just explaining the background of the property that he owns, which is a 100-acre lot in North Perth, and it was patented in 1867, and it's basically the Burlett family patented and owned it through family till 1971, which is a long duration through generations. Thereafter, it was conveyed to the Smith family, and then on to the next family, who were the Mrs. Martin's family, the Frays, and then the Frays conveyed it to Mr. and Mrs. Martin in 1994. The property itself is zoned rural or agricultural for use, as it is. The property is 100 acres, 79 acres of that is totally workable and it's continued to be workable probably since it was originally patented because of the nature of the property. The barn on the property has been estimated to have been built probably in the late 1800s, and it's still the same barn that's on the property. It's a very massive and a strong structured building, and has been used for livestock raising during other owners. And well, Mr. Martin has been there. First 4 years after he bought it in 1994, they had livestock in the barn and used that. The rest of the property was cropped and still is cropped. There's a 15-acre field or forest on the property, and there's 4 acres on which presently there's a home, the barn, and what's the other? Oh yeah, the pond. Excuse me, the pond that went in 1994, which has been very enjoyed by many people in the area. And sometimes they've had over 100 people come and use it. It's been very, very nice and very refreshing for neighbors in the area using that pond. Anyway, what happened is that in 2014, they decided they were going to alienate themselves of using getting rid of the livestock, and they used the building, the second floor of the building, more for agricultural storage of equipment and things like that they had. And in that year, they decided, the daughter was going to get married in 2015, that they could use the barn for the wedding. It was a very unique idea, and they worked towards that and got it set up so that it could be properly used. And there were over 200 people at that wedding in the building, and it was quite amazing and quite a nice event that everybody totally enjoyed. But that brought upon itself a reality that this property's got that value potential of being used for that purpose. And so they started to use it for that purpose. In 2015, it started 15 is the wedding, 16 it started to be used for multiple wedding events and could be used for other family-oriented events and for other organizations if they wanted to use the building. But it was designed basically to have weddings during that period. And that went on, and every year it grew, the business grew, and the more weddings were conducted there. And everybody enjoyed it. There was no complaint from anybody. So it just grew, and it's a very lovely property with well managed and well gardened and a very attractive place to have a wedding, with the pond outside and the elements around the pond where people could go to between the service and the evening activities or late afternoon. It was a nice place. Anyway, everything was going along smoothly until 2005, and that year your building inspector somehow came to the property and said that there was a complaint made about the property, wouldn't describe what the complaint was or who was the complainant, but that's what brought her to the property, and to talk about the property and its use. And bottom line, and she was promoted that the bylaw should be amended to allow that use to be in the bylaw, and which is an interesting exercise, and I'll come to that later. The thing is that she was then going on to say, well, you know, it didn't happen then, but it started to gravitate into stronger messages about what should happen. And we couldn't get out of any information formally out of what she or your town wanted out of it. But they kept saying, well, little things like, well, there has to be a fire pump, or a pump from the water to pump water out of the pond, so that if there's a fire, it can be pumped out there. They got that. The driveway isn't wide enough. They widened the driveway, and the parking and so forth. They did that. There are some minor things that they talked about. That was really all it was about until the end of the year. And it would indicate that each wedding that was there, the cost or the income that came to the company was about $6,000 for all the services the chairs and the food and everything that's there. But it would accommodate up to 200 people in the barn. It's a big, massive, strong structure and can service that very easily.
Excuse me, can you please keep to the tent extension? That's what we're here to speak on.
I'm sorry?
Can you keep to the tent extension? This is what you're here to speak on?
Don't think I can actually do that, but if there's an urgency to keep it down, I'd like to move into the second extension if I can. It's really two sections. Anyway, that
Excuse me,
started.
through the clerk?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Kellum. Through you, this subject that was disclosed on the delegation forum, I believe, is extension of tent permit. In accordance with our procedure bylaw, delegations are requested to stay on topic.
Thank you.
Okay, well, I'll hasten it then. What happened is that the focus was on getting the property rezoned to have that use. The unfortunate part of it, from the point of view of your person, the inspector, the building inspector, was that I don't think she was aware that the fact is that use has long been grandfathered into existence as a non-conforming use. That would maybe, so it's been since 2015 to 2025 is 9 years, and it's 9 years of use as that facility without any problems from anybody, no complaints from anybody, and a productive use of the land and the service to the community that this town is or township is part of. And bottom line, that became the gravitation of responsibility. Well, then that started to increase, and all of a sudden the topic of, well, there may be other things you have to do. And what happened on the last wedding of the year was in September of last year, and the party had rented the barn, and the family was in there on a Friday with their family members getting ready for the Saturday wedding, flowers and arrangements and so forth, very excited about it. And your building inspector came with a policeman to the door and said she wanted to see in the barn. Well, bottom line is that unbeknown to them, anybody, we didn't know it, the family didn't know it, they came to the house first, and then went to the barn to go in, and walked into the barn and announced to the bride and everybody in there that the building was off limits. She had to leave the building at the same time, couldn't even use the bathroom, and you had to leave. They just both pushed them out of the building, and on they went, and they said they'd be back with papers, which came late afternoon.
Okay, you got 2 minutes to wrap up, please.
No, I have to have a couple more minutes. It's
2
important.
Yes.
And all I'm saying is that I don't know if there's somebody if I can stand down and come back if you like, but I think that it's important because I want you to know that has been such a contentious area that we lost last year. That wedding, it aborted and had to go to another place. That was basically an $8,000 loss, and then they authorized a tent to come in. That you could use a tent. We've got a downsized tent. Didn't need a permit or anything for that, and she admitted that wasn't of his size. So we asked for, and we've got it, and it's outside the property now, is a very large tent. And they bought it understanding that they could use it in the next season. And so they bought it, and it cost $50,000 to buy the tent. And bottom line is they had no idea that there was going to be any problem with it. They'd have to pay for a tent permit for each event. But what happened is that she came back and said, oh no, you can only use it for the one event, which wedding was last Saturday. The tent, and she ordered the tent to be taken down. Well, the tent is, you must realize that that's the use of the property is permitted, and it's in law. And it isn't a right that's granted to the owner. The right is granted to the land. The land is lawfully permitted to carry on with that activity, and she has interfered with that activity to such an extent. There were 15 free, and they knew of the number of bookings that we had for 2026. We had 15 bookings times $6,000 a booking. And we've had 6, and we had to contact all those people and say, we're in a problem, we don't know what to do. And there were six, all but six, that said no, they would stay. The others backed out. And then they had six more people that tried to get in, and they had to say no to them because we don't know what's going on. And then they served, at the end of that same afternoon, and the day before the wedding, they served a paper which is strikingly, well, it says, and this is what it said, order prohibiting occupancy. That was what it was, and it describes, until such time as the building is repaired or to remove unsafe conditions that outline in an order to comply. Well, the order to comply, there have never been anything more than the order to comply on the back of that. This is what it said. This is the reasoning for closing the thing down. It said, and this is her writing it on the document, inspection of the building shows no indication that there is adequate building fire safety requirements in place. There are no fire detection systems. Now this is signed on last September.
Okay, I'm going to have to cut you off now. We're at our
sorry?
time limit. Does any council members have any questions or comments for Mr. Follis? Councillor Blazek?
Thank you, through you, Deputy Mayor Callum. Thank you for your delegation here today. I'm wondering what it is that you are wanting council to do with
Well,
the information that you've shared.
Well, well, first of all, the thing is that if there's anything they can do to allow as they said in the fall, that you could use the tent, we would pay each time we used it, we would pay, I think it's $500 or $600, we would do that. And that was all we had to pay. The town has no money invested, they don't spend anything, they don't have to come there, they have no overhead expense with it. That would be acceptable, but they have to be able to come, the people have to come back. If they don't come back, if they don't come back, it's, those damages have to be recovered, and the only way to recover them is the use of the court proceedings to do that, and probably, in all probability, an injunction would be sought to stall the whole process. And as I say, if you add up the damages, it's quite amazing what it comes to. It's staggering. And anyway, the other thing is that there's been an offer to purchase the property, and that may collapse. And that purchase, I'm sure, was made on the understanding that the income would come from the weddings because it would generate the same kind of wedding revenue that it does right now. So the bottom line is that I think that the taxpayers of this town would not want to be involved in a litigation that could be very unfavorable to the town if it went forward. And I would ask you to consider the best way you can do it is to try and see if you can propose a resolution that can help or can work to help in short order. And I think that should come back through your lawyer, who's communicated twice with once directly to, well, both times to the owner and the partner, and basically said that you have to bring it into standards. We asked for those standards. We were here in front of council on May the 12th, actually, asking you. We haven't heard anything. We don't know what the problem is. A statement, you can't, to say it appears to indicate that there is it shows there's no indication and that there's adequate building fire safety. I mean, you have to have some evidence with it. There's nothing. She doesn't. We've asked for it since this problem has been up. Got no answers from her. And if you're going to shut somebody down, I think you got to know why and what the reasons are. We don't know what to construct. The building is a very solid building. It's survived, 100 years of snows and less and stuff like that. I'm over the limit. The bottom line, I think.
So,
go ahead.
Further to that, so just to be very specific, are you asking this council to have our building department get back to you, like post haste, with a very specific list of our expectations, of this municipality's expectations?
Well, enough that we can know what things we have to repair or replace. I mean, they haven't done an inspection, and if you're going to tear a building down, on paper. You gotta have somebody, a professional go in and estimate that. And I'm saying that you got a couple of weeks before we lose everybody this year. And all it does is add to the damages that will be sought from the town if you don't. And it's not fair for them to lose a business over
Okay. Thank you.
somebody that says, it doesn't appear to be sufficient. That's where insufficiency is what we're being closed on.
Okay, Councillor Johnson, you'd like to speak?
I just have a question for CAO Snell. Should we as council no longer comment since there is several threats of a lawsuit here?
CEO?
Certainly, that would be my advice as a CAO. Once we're under the threat of potential litigation, I think council should resist comment.
Thank you for the advice. Okay, thank you for your delegation.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, Dave. Okay, moving on. Our agenda indicates that we will hold a public meeting pertaining to matters under the Planning Act in the next time interval. For the purpose of executing this public meeting, I use my discretion as chair of this meeting to announce a recess lasting the duration of the public meetings. This council is now in recess. Welcome to those attending the public meeting pursuant to the Planning Act for a proposed amendment to the North Perth zoning bylaw. This is a statutory public meeting to deal with. Application for zoning bylaw amendment number ZN 2-2026 by Community Living, North Perth, for property legally described as parts 11 through 17, Plan 165, Main Street West South, Listowel Ward, Municipality of North Perth, 580 Main Street West. Correspondence, reports, and comments received regarding this application will be considered by council. Those in attendance wishing to make comments concerning this application will be given the opportunity to do so. In accordance with the Planning Act, specified persons or public bodies wishing to appeal council's decision in this matter must make verbal submission during this public meeting or have made written submission to the council. Those wishing to receive notice of the decision regarding this application must notify the clerk via email, telephone, or by utilizing the public meeting sign-in sheet located at the back of the council chambers, giving their mailing address and telephone number. At this time, I'll call for a summary of the application. This will be offered by Nathan Garland, planner for the County of Perth. Welcome, Nathan.
Thank you, Deputy. Oh,
Please.
apologies.
He's going to take off now.
Gives me time to button my jacket. Thank you.
Please know Councillor Richardson has left the room. Continue.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor Callum and members of North Perth Council. I'm here to present application ZN 2026 on behalf of the Municipality of North Perth and Community Living in North Perth. The agent is Timwell Consulting and the location is noted. It is shown on the screen highlighted above. It is the Main Street property directly adjacent to the water tower, just west of Victoria Avenue South. The requested rezoning is to amend the IN-4, so it's a special institutional zone to an amended IN-4. The request would allow 15 residential units, 15 parking spaces, 8 of which may be off-site, and a reduced interior and rear yard setback. In addition to this, we are requesting the addition of a definition be added to the North Perth zoning bylaw, which addresses a residential care facility. So this is just adding and amending a definition, so just including this to accompany this property and this use. In support of the information provided, the applicants have provided a phase 1 environmental assessment, so that does look at potential contamination of the site. They did sign some remediation measures that would be required if approved through site plan approval. The applicants have also provided a concept plan, planning rationale letter, which includes comparatives from other areas, as well as a source water protection letter just outlining the potential use and threats to the kind of source water, drinking water. Just a little image looking towards the south from Main Street, so just looking towards the property. Currently is directly adjacent to the tennis court and a residential use to the east. Currently it's vacant, just being mown grass right now, so there is nothing occurring on the property. It's a vacant piece of area. I won't go into this too much, but I have highlighted some concept plans. I believe the applicants do have a bit of a presentation outlined as well too. So they are proposing a 3-story structure with parking in the front and the residential in the back, and as well as some amenity space in the rear. That's just a couple images from the concept architect has provided, just of the view that would be looking towards Main Street, so looking south at the property. Also, an aerial image of the concept plan that's provided. Once again, it's showing 7 parking spaces on the property, including accessible space, as well as the building, as well and amenity space around it. They are proposing an in and out access, so it would be a one-way or drive-through type of approach, along with the parking. The applicants are requesting some garbage or refuse collection at the front of the property, and I will get to that a little bit later on as well too. That's shown in that boxed area directly adjacent to the tennis courts. There has been some comments provided just with respect to back and forth in the parking considerations. So one of the items has been provided by the applicant just showing some additional parking spaces. So they have shown a modified parking concept. Once again, these are concept plans provided the zoning bylaw that's in front of council really would address this moving on forward to the applicant. So this is just an additional consideration should the zoning bylaw be met or have to be amended. For council's information, the application was circulated within 120 meters. Notice of application was provided on May 4th with a subsequent notice of public meeting provided on June 2nd. Comments and concerns have been expressed over the following. Parking was the main concern, and additionally, there was a late note impact to a potential sugar maple at the back of the property, and I'll highlight that just a little bit later in the presentation. Then comments being supplied by the applicant in response was the planning report, site sketch, phase 1 ESA, and they have provided some supplemental additional response comments with respect to parking in that consideration. As the outline is noted, the development is for community use and a non-for-profit. The site plan application will be required because it is over 10 units, therefore it does automatically trigger a site plan requirement, which considers noise, access, ingress and egress, lighting and things like that, as well as some earthworks on the property, so that does go through the site plan process. Parking reduction does follow the institutional use, so it is more closely aligned with an institutional use that they are requesting. And then staff have recommended an off-site parking consideration because North Perth does have a shuttle service that they would provide. Tree impacts I will address now just on the next slide. So one of the items highlighted is that sugar maple. You'll see it in the colors, actually. That's one of the reasons I chose this. It just highlighted the different colors, the orange and the green on the property. So that's the sugar maple directly at the back there. They are showing it off property towards the rear amenity space. It does show a bit of the, I'll say, jut out that may impact the canopy a little bit just based on that drawing. The architect may have used also just a conceptual drawing, so I don't have verification if that was actually an impact or not. There may be some direction for an arborist to assess that or something to that effect as a consideration through the process, but they are showing that off property and it would be directly adjacent just to the rear yard amenity space. So it does give it about a 5-meter buffer based on the request that they're asking for. Therefore, it is staff's recommendation that the North Perth Council approve zoning amendment Z6 2026. I'm happy to address or answer any questions.
Thank you. I'll ask the planner and the clerk to provide information regarding notice of the public meeting.
I may defer to the clerk on this, but.
Okay.
Through you, Deputy Mayor Kellum, notices inviting persons to the public meeting were mailed on June 2nd, 2026 by first-class mail to landowners within 120 meters of the subject property and emailed to all applicable agencies. Additionally, notice was posted on the Municipality of North Perth website and subject property on that same date.
Thank you. I'll ask the clerk now if they have input about correspondence, comments, and reports received about this application.
We have received no additional correspondence other than what was included in the agenda.
Thank you. We'll move on now. Anyone wishing to make comments is now invited to do so. I'll first ask those in favor other than the applicant. See none. Those opposed? Would the applicant or agent like to make comments? Do we have someone online? Do they wish to make comments? Okay, go ahead.
Yes, I do. Thank you. Hey, good afternoon, good evening, Mr. Chair, our Deputy Mayor, and members of council, and members in the gallery as well. My name is Edwin Chang. I'm from Tim Welch Consulting, and with me today is Jennifer Croft, the Executive Director of Community Living North Perth. I have a little presentation put together. I do send my regrets that I can't be here in person today. I have a 3-month-old that should probably be sleeping soon, so I want to get helping on that. But Tim Welch Consulting primarily works with nonprofit organizations such as churches, community living groups, neighborhood land trusts, and municipalities, whereby we act as a development consultant. So everything from design, securing funds, managing construction, very A to Z, and making sure that affordable and supportive housing gets done. If I may, I would like to share my screen to put a little presentation I've put together. I'm going to assume my screen is sharing. I do see it on the thing. So yeah, so as Nathan suggested, this is a municipally owned piece of land that was previously a water tower. We're proposing 15 new affordable supportive housing units. This includes 4 units for Stratford Housing. That includes additional rent supplements. These effectively will be individual apartments to support independent living for people living with developmental disabilities. There's also going to be on-site staff that will provide flexible support for individual tenant needs. The design and thought process about what you see right now is really the objective was to create a very warm and residential and not too institutional type of environment that kind of harmonizes with the surrounding neighborhoods. Our material choices was emphasize durability, comfort, and mix of residential character and long-term efficiency, kind of pulling from components across the heritage buildings across the way, including mostly brick and siding and a pitched roof. In terms of indoor amenity space, there is a group kitchen, some multi-purpose event space and activity space, and areas for staff to do some administrative work, along with some storage and scooter storage. So we have gone through a pretty lengthy consultation and engagement process with municipal staff, service managers, and community living staff members, and also those residents who have actual lived experiences. And a lot of their feedback is what shaped the building design, the interior layouts, what type of amenity areas are on the inside, on the outside, and how to kind of very safely design a parking area that accommodates both servicing vehicles, delivery vehicles, emergency vehicles, and also your kind of day-to-day, including visitors, with the ultimate goal to really create a dignified and independent set place for operations and for people to live in. This is the site layout you saw earlier. There's both indoor and outdoor amenity space. I want to kind of throw attention to the very plan east of the property. This is the amenity area that we feel is very important to the residents. It's a space for them to relax, a space for them to do outdoor activities, and a space for them to really relax and kind of outside the I don't want to say confines, but outside the indoor areas of the building. We also have a very important in and out double driveway in and out exit. This allows for shuttles and deliveries and even staff members to come in and out of site without backing out too much, which is very important for resident safety. Our main requirements for this ZBA is the use and the setbacks and the parking. And the parking I can talk about into a little bit more detail. The parking piece, it's very common for community living projects that we do. It's very rare that residents have parking, or sorry, have vehicles. Currently, Community Living North Perth, they have approximately 60 individuals that they currently support. Only 2 of those hold driver's licenses, and that's a pretty consistent statistics across their entire duration of operations. And only 1 of them owns a vehicle. So that makes it around less than 3% of individuals drive. So, and approximately 90% of residents rely on ODSP, which makes vehicle ownership very financially unrealistic. And like I said earlier, over the last 65 years of operation, that number has always been around 3%. The other thing is, from a staff perspective, we have 7 sites proposed in this development. 2 of those are visitor spaces, which satisfies the zoning bylaw requirements for visitor parking. The remaining 5 additional spaces will be for staff, therapeutic personnel, and visitors. And typically only 2 staff members would be on site per shift. So that leaves a lot of ample parking for additional support staff and visitors. And the additional parking so we I think Nathan quickly showed a slide of potential options on reconfiguring the lot. We did look at adding more parking spaces. The problem we found when we were developing those drawings was that larger parking areas would inevitably reduce the valuable outdoor amenity space we wanted for the residents, meaning we had to push the building back and lose that amenity area I was talking about. And this was kind of a non-negotiable in terms of the mandates of this project. By taking that away, we lose the gazebo, we lose recreational areas, we lose the fire pit. These are kind of very, very important things for this program. The other problem is if we lose that area in the back, residents would end up kind of congregating in the front of the area, the front of the building where the parking lot is. And given the cognitive and mobility challenges that some of the residents have, they could increase their interaction with vehicles and emergency vehicles, which we were trying to avoid. And also, the alternative layouts kind of causes an operational issue for garbage collection. So we kind of want to stick with what we're having here, just for safety concerns. Lastly, there is some comparable standards. A lot of municipalities are recognizing that these group homes or support-oriented housing forms do require less parking. They're following on like 5 residence staff spaces would typically be like 1 parking space per every 3 beds. So a very close and recent comparable is like the community living project in Owen Sound, which was approved for a zoning bylaw amendment with the standard of 1 space per 3 beds, which is kind of roughly what we're asking for here. So we're just trying to demonstrate that the requested parking supply really aligns with similar developments and municipal precedents. But if required, if the push comes to shove, community living can always offer 8 off-site parking stalls in their existing location, or we can work with the Huron Perth next door or some churches. And that reminds me, like, we will have a shuttle program that picks up people from down the street at their other office to this office. So there's a lot of ways to address the parking requirements, or the very minimal parking requirements on this site. The other thing I just wanted to point out is the garbage enclosure. I wanted to point out that these are just 2 2-yard bins. These bins are typically like 6 feet in length, 3 feet high, 3 feet deep. So they're very small. And the enclosure itself is not going to be a huge fancy enclosure. It's going to be 4 foot tall approximately. And I know there were some kind of considerations for using a Moloch system. The preference would be not to switch to a Moloch system, just because a Moloch system is actually a little bit higher than the 4-foot fence we're proposing, and they will require an enclosure in itself anyways. And the reason I don't want to have to commit to that, although we will explore that, is I don't think Molochs they could cost more to operate and to pick up and deliver. And I do hear some stories about other business operations that have had some troubles with them. So we don't want to commit to it, but we're all obviously open to exploring it, with the costs being the biggest caveat of it. So yeah, those are the 2 things I wanted to point out. Ultimately, in its conclusion, this development will provide a very dignified, inclusive housing project that supports independence, safety, and quality of life for its residents. And this project represents an opportunity for meaningful partnerships between community living and the municipality, and hopefully members of council and the public as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Edwin, for your presentation. Moving on, council. Questions or first comments? Councillor Norden.
Thanks for the presentation. It's a very exciting project, and yeah, it looks fantastic. One minor comment I would just have is the snow storage on this property looks a little small, and we do live in a snow belt, so I'm just wondering your comments on that. Is that large enough, you think, for our area? Thanks.
Thanks for bringing that up. I kind of agree with you. The idea was that in the worst case scenario, some of the snow will be off-site. There will be a lot of requirement for man shoveling and not kind of coming in with a lorry or a pickup to do most of the shoveling. Worst case scenario, because we are pretty confident that those parking stalls that we identified will be more than sufficient. We're always open to increasing shuttle services from the Community Living North Perth offices down the street. And worst case scenario, I think we'll have to utilize some of the I forgot what those called, the boulevard areas in the face of the building.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Councillor Rothwell?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, and through you, thanks for the presentation and for, as Councillor Norton said, very, very exciting project, which we're happy to partner with Community Living about. Can, through Nathan Garland, could you just go over the proposal on the reduction? I'm just concerned about what the zoning bylaw amendment is saying, and then what I heard in the presentation in terms of whether the specific request that's been asked for, like the original plan, which I believe Edward was speaking about, versus what I thought was an agreed upon proposal. Like, for example, as I understand the interior yard dealing with the garbage enclosure. So is that still required if they're not going to this other garbage system, or is it required nevertheless? Thank you.
So through the deputy warden, or through the deputy mayor, my apologies. The garbage enclosure, so it is a front yard accessory structure. So if council was supportive of that, I would just ask that you consider that allowing a front yard accessory structure. The Moloch type system tend to get away from the accessory structure side of things because it was a little bit smaller and didn't require some of the enclosure space. So that was a consideration. So if they are asking for this now to be, I'll say, in the front yard. So if council was supportive of that consideration for the garbage to be located there, I would ask that you just include that as a one front yard accessory structure in the bylaw. The other area to the north, so this has been agreed upon, or I guess recommended through the bylaw with respect to the setback to the residential lands and also the institutional lands to the south. So it does include the recommended setback, which I believe is 5 meters to the residential lands, both to the north and to the south. So it'd be the rear yard and the interior side yard. So that would be the major consideration. And then as noted through the presentation and the applicant, staff have requested 15 units in total, but 8 of which may be off-site. The applicants have come back and requested just council consider 7 as a whole without the off-site consideration. So that's what they're requesting versus what we've suggested. So staff have suggested 15, 8 of which may be off-site. The applicant is still requesting the 7 on-site, but they were somewhat agreeable to having the 8 off-site through the shuttle service.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, again, through you. So to be clear, if council were to be in agreement with the proposal for the front yard storage, that would be an amendment that would be required to the draft bylaw, correct?
Through the deputy mayor, correct, yes.
And then secondly, just with respect to the presentation from the planner there, the parking reduction, if that would be to have 7 total, that would be in another amendment to the bylaw. Is that correct?
Correct. Those would be, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Councillor Johnston?
Just with regard to those 8 off-site parking, if we were to require them, they would be like at their main office and designated for this property? Is that what I understand?
Through the deputy mayor, they have several other properties, but it would be through some combination of their other properties or agreements that they would be essentially allocating those units for this property. So that would be a dedicated reference to say they are supporting this property through that allocation of parking.
Okay. You're fine? Okay, anyone else? Seeing none, notice of the decision of council will be given in accordance with the provisions of the Planning Act. Council's decision is subject to appeal to the Ontario Land Tribunal in accordance with provisions of the Planning Act. With that being said, I will adjourn this public meeting. So I now declare the recess period during which the public meeting was held to be over and call our regular meeting back into properly constituted sessions. So clerk, this is good to read? Okay, thank you very much. So the resolution is as follows. that the Council of the Municipality of North Perth receives the report dated June 22nd, 2026, entitled Zoning Bylaw Amendment ZN 6-2026, prepared by planning staff, and that Council of the Municipality of North Perth approves zoning bylaw amendment ZN 6-2026, submitted by Community Living, North Perth, on behalf of the Municipality of North Perth, affecting lands described as part lots 11 to 17, Plan 165, Listowel Ward, Municipality of North Perth, municipality known as 580 Main Street West. Can I get a mover for that, please? Moved by Councillor Andreessen, second by Councillor Anstett. Whenever you're ready, we'll have that vote. And that is carried. Please invite Councillor Richardson back in. That brings us to item 9 on our agenda. Let us next consider an item from the Development and Protective Services Department as item 9.1 of our agenda. In item 9.11, Council is invited to consider an application for a consent to sever a lot from an existing lot in the Listowel Ward, locating on Elma Street West in Listowel. The intention is to create 2 separate conveyable lots for a semi-detached house, allowing both parts of the semi-detached to be conveyed by separate deed. I'll call on Nathan Garland once again as planner with the County of Perth to walk us through this report. Welcome back.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Callum and members of North Perth Council. I'm here to present severance application B15. It is 2023, so you are correct on that numbering. The applicant and owner is Ed Becker, and the location is noted as part lots 27 and 30, registered plan 185 Listowel Ward, Municipality of North Perth. So the request is for a severance of a semi-detached structure, as noted there. So you'll see the image just shown as parts 1 and part 2. So just as a severance of an existing and constructed semi-detached building. The subject, the severed and retained lands are approximately the same size, 284.9 square meters in size. So meeting the zoning bylaw requirements for that. Just an image of the building there. So they are proposing to sever the line right straight through the shared party wall as part of that. We were just waiting on the registered reference plan to be provided back. That's why there was a little bit of delay in bringing this back to council, because they do need to identify that party wall exactly as part of a surveying requirement. Otherwise, it's a bit of guesswork, and they don't want to come back after the fact owning someone's fridge or something like that. Just the image looking also towards the west there from Havelock. No comments or concerns have been expressed by any of the members of the general public or through municipal staff, as this is an existing structure that has been built. It meets the planning policy, so it is within the neighborhood designation, the official plan, meets the zoning. Standard severance requirements has been applied to this, so there was a number of standard severance conditions, and then also, as noted, a reference plan has now been provided showing exactly where that shared party wall is. Therefore, it is staff's recommendation that North Perth Council supports severance application B1523, and I'm happy to address or answer any questions at this time.
Thank you, Nathan. Questions or first comments for Nathan at this time? Councillor Rothwell?
Thanks very much, Deputy Mayor Callum. Just through you, can we, Nathan, go to the report photo? Yeah, thank you very much. So just to be clear, so I certainly know that the semi is built on the yellow and the red, but we can see that the red line goes through what was the large building that was demolished. And that's a separate lot, is that correct, in terms of the balance of this?
Through the Deputy Mayor, that's correct. That lot was previously separate off, so the 2 lots were separated. I will admit, I do not recall the severance application previously.
No, that's fine. I just want to make sure that again, that parcel to the, well, it actually is to the east, is separate and distinct from this application, correct?
Yes, the lots have been, I'll say, severed in half, and now this is now being
Good.
half of a half.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, I do have a resolution that reads as follows. That the Council of the Municipality of North Perth advises the Land Division Committee or its delegated authority that the municipality supports application file B15-23 submitted by Ed Becker for lands described as part lots 27 and 30, Register Plan 185 Listowel Ward, Elm Street West, Municipality of North Perth, subject to the following conditions. There are 5 lengthy conditions from North Perth and 2 from the county. Do you wish me to read them, or we're good with that? Thank you very much. So I get a mover, please. Moved by Councillor Johnson, second by Councillor Rothwell. Thank you. And let's have that vote.
I'm in favor, Deputy Mayor.
Councillor Anstett records a manual vote. And with that, that is carried. Moving to item 10 on our agenda, does any member of council wish consent of council for a report from staff or from a committee? Seeing none. For item 11, we have no items in correspondence for our consideration or disposition. So we move right into agenda item 12, which is a closed session meeting. So we have one item to be considered in a closed session of council. I'll now read the resolution that both explains and enables our action to enter into closed session. That council proceeds in camera at 8:11 p.m. to address the matter pertaining to the following: litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board regarding plan of subdivision NO 44M-45. Moved by Councillor Duncan, second by Councillor Anstett. When ready, we'll have that vote. And that is carried. We'll just take a few minutes to redo the audio and visual and move right into it. Regarding item 13 on our agenda, Council did discuss the matter identified in our enabling resolution for a closed session meeting of Council and gave staff direction pertaining to the matter that was considered, the essence of which will remain confidential at this time for the reasons stipulated in our enablement of closed session. Regarding item 13 on our agenda, Council did discuss the matter identified. I don't sound too bad. Okay. At this point, as item 14, we turn to consideration of bylaws that have been recommended for us to take action. Tonight we have two bylaws for our consideration. The enabling resolutions outlines for each bylaw their number and purpose. Yes?
Councillor Richardson.
Yep.
Deputy Mayor, can you split those up?
I'm going to get to that. Okay.
Carry on.
Yes.
Thank you.
Before I read the resolution for the passing bylaws, does any councillor wish to extract one or more of them for more fulsome consideration or individual or recorded vote? Councillor Richardson?
I would like to itemize 14.1 and 14.2 because I have to declare a pecuniary interest on 14.2.
So we will split them up. So we'll read the first one and then Councillor Richardson can leave. Sounds good to me. Okay, the first resolution is at 47-2026, being a bylaw to assume the services in Hannah Havens Phases 1 and 2. Moved by Councillor Anstead, second by Councillor Rothwell. Whenever you're ready for that vote. And that is carried. Please note Councillor Richardson has left the council chambers. And the second bylaw, that bylaw number 48-2026, being a bylaw to amend bylaw 6-ZB-1999 as amended. Moved by Councillor Blazik, second by Councillor Andreessen. When ready, let's have that vote.
Is this where we would talk about, sorry,
Yes.
is this where we would talk about the off-site parking and the garbage?
Okay, come on back
Sorry
up.
to interrupt.
No, that's good.
So if I'm okay with just the 7 parking spots. I think their reasoning for it, I do agree, and I know we could sign them up for 8 off-site parking spots, but they're never gonna use them, and they're gonna be filled with cars from something else, and it's just gonna be a piece of paper that's useless, in my opinion. So I would be willing to say that we allow them just the 7 parking spots.
Okay. Any other comments? Go ahead, Councillor Blazik.
Thank you, through you, Deputy Mayor Callum, and thanks for catching that. Also, the structure in the front for garbage, we need to amend to include that as well, I would think.
Okay. Clerk, could you please read the resolution out loud, please?
Yes, through you, Deputy Mayor Kellum, so your resolution is going to be that the following bylaw is hereby passed, 48-2026 being a bylaw, 48-2026 as amended, being a bylaw to amend bylaw 6-ZB-1999 as amended.
Thank you. Is the mover okay with that? And the seconder? Okay. Councillor Rothwell.
Thanks very much, Deputy Mayor. Just further the comments from Councillor Blazik and Councillor Johnson. So just as long as the planner, Nathan Garland, can come up with the revision that we've talked about here, and we're clear that would be the bylaw which we're adopting. I just want to make sure that the wording can be clarified in that respect. Thank you.
Okay.
Through the Deputy Mayor, I don't have a concern with that. It's a fairly straightforward amendment. It would just be to remove the off-site parking as I understand it, so still a 7, remove the off-site consideration, and then just to allow one accessory structure in the front yard.
You good with that? Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments? Okay, we're ready for the vote. Who are we missing? And that is carried. please invite Councillor Richardson back in. Okay, we're now at item number 15 on our agenda, is item 15.1. Does any councillor wish to give notice of motion for our next meeting? Councillor Duncan.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Kellum. Back in January, we did a bylaw, and unfortunately, I feel there was something overlooked within that bylaw, and I'd like to see about correcting it. So I'm going to bring forth a motion through the notice of motion process for the next council meeting that states, whereas the municipality of North Perth enacted bylaw number 1/20/2025 being a bylaw to provide for various fees and charges for the municipality of North Perth effective January 1st, 2026. And whereas Schedule B, Development and Protective Services fees of bylaw number 1/2025 currently include a standby attendance fee applicable to firefighters providing standby coverage at the public fireworks displays, demolition derbies, and similar community events charged at full cost recovery based on hourly wages, benefits, and associated public works department materials. And whereas council has determined that it is in the public interest to remove the standby attendance fee from Schedule B in order to support our local service clubs and facilitate community events within the municipality of North Perth, and whereas Municipal Act 2001, SO 2001, C25 as amended grants council the authority to amend municipal bylaws, including fee and charge bylaws as deemed appropriate. Thank you. I'll be sure the clerk gets a copy of that.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Councillor Duncan. Anyone else? Okay, seeing none. For item 16 on our agenda, are there any announcements that would be of benefit to our community or reflect well North Perth at this time? Those in the chamber may raise their hands to be placed on the speakers list. Seeing none at this time. Moving on. Council has mandated good practice, acts near the end of its meeting agenda to confirm all of its actions and business of this meeting through what called the confirmatory bylaw. And please note that Councillor Richardson and Andreessen have exited the room. Resolution reads as follows. That bylaw number 49/2026 being a bylaw to confirm generally previous actions of the Council of the Municipality of North Perth is hereby passed. Moved by Councillor Anstett, second by Councillor Duncan. Let's have that vote. That is carried. Colleagues, the Deputy Mayor will communicate his intentions pertaining to his right to veto any of tonight's business in writing in the next 24 hours. This information we provided to the clerk as part of his required duties as Deputy Mayor. I don't intend to veto anything at this point. And finally, that the council meeting adjourns at 8:36 p.m. to meet again for general council business on Monday, July 8th, 2026 at 7 p.m. Moved by Councillor Anstett and second by Councillor Blazek. It's on debatable. Let's have that vote.
I'm in favor.
Councillor Richardson has a manual vote. With that, that is carried. Until our next meeting, this council is adjourned.